Hi again, everyone. My name is Alistair Moore, the product team at Yooz. And today, based on the topic and the theme that we're discussing, I wanted to show you and demonstrate a little bit about what sort of practical applied AI looks like inside real financial workflows, which is where we specialize. I wanted to approach this with a practical lens, so kind of minimize buzzwords, hype, just look into tools that help AP teams and accounting teams improve efficiency, stop forward and get visibility into spend. So I'll sort of wrap this up with a demo as well as we go through. So the first things I wanted to talk about are where AP teams feel pressure from almost everywhere. And that's typically along the lines of invoice volumes going up and keeping on rising, but headcount doesn't. So teams are still stuck doing manual PO matching. They're chasing approvals by email, handling exceptions line by line manually. And at the same time, fraud attempts are increasing and visibility into liabilities and cash flow is often very reactive rather than proactive. One way to think about this is, the way that we like to think about it is that automation is incredibly important and helps remove tasks. AI provides clarity and removes uncertainty around those tasks. And it's the uncertainty that slows teams down even more than they would if they didn't have those tools. So accounts payable teams are really being asked to do more than ever without more resources. So a little bit about Yooz, just a very quick introduction. So at Yooz and with our lean financial operations methodology, we're focused on doing more with less friction while fighting waste and fraud. We've been cloud native since day one, and now serving around 7,000 clients and 600,000 users globally across 40 countries. And our platform has processed around 300 million documents, which is the foundation that makes our AI and specifically our machine learning even more effective. Because we actively research and publish across AI and machine learning, innovation is really part of our operating methodology, part of our DNA, and not a side project for us. A little bit about that in terms of why it is our focus. We kind of talk about it. It's not just an add-on for us. It is our foundation around how the application works. We've spent more than a decade building proprietary AI and machine learning into the platform. Today, we run 6 different AI technologies. We also publish across over 100 scientific publications, and we reinvest around 25% of our income into R&D every year. That's why we can deliver AI that's very explainable, reliable, and directly tied to outcomes that AP teams and accounting teams care about. That matters to our end users because AI touches every step from data capture and data extraction analysis to PO matching and coding to workflows, fraud detection, and anomaly monitoring. So just a quick kind of overview, and I'm going to touch on some of these as I go into the demo. But here's these are a couple of different touch points about what it looks like in terms of where AI and machine learning are applied across the application and across the platform. So the first is intelligent PO matching. So we provide AI-driven matching across 2-way and 3-way invoice to PO matching. And that includes at the line level logic, including discrepancy detection and resolution and intelligent adjustment recommendations. The next is with Yooz Protect, which is our suite of fraud detection and fraud prevention tools. So we do AI-based fake document detection, catching duplicates, anomalies, and suspicious invoices, which I'll demonstrate. And we have our AI assistant, of course. Chat agents are incredibly useful. They're great. Natural language productivity is very useful to gain access, both for productivity as well as to gain access to insight, spend trends, and documents as well. And then with vendor statement reconciliation, yet another way that we conduct intelligent AI-driven line level analysis across vendor statement documents to automate that reconciliation process and remove tedious month-end work at the end of the day for our users. The impact here in combining and applying multiple different AI and machine learning models across various core processes is what results in measurable downstream and upstream impact for customers, turning what used to be hours of manual effort into seconds of automated actions. So in terms of the impact here, customers typically see over 80% reduction in processing time and costs. They typically see far more straight-through processing or no-touch processing, stronger fraud protection, and a platform that evolves as their business evolves. So why it matters is, and I guess it's the biggest story of why it matters, is AI shifts teams from reacting to exceptions to proactively spotting trends, making decisions, and advising leadership before issues hit the books and before they are retroactively asked from a higher level to, again, retroactively report that provides more proactive responses and reporting. All right. Okay, I think I haven't gone on too long. It should be fine. Now I'm going to break into our application. Yep, looks like we're all seeing that. Let me just get in here to one of our demo environments. If it loads. There we go. All right, now that I've landed in our main application, like I mentioned, chat agents are really useful in generating spend analysis. Actually, I was just using it. So here I had actually, before we started, I was actually returning some results. So I inputted their 3 purchase order invoices. I was asking, I'd like to view my PO-based invoices and return a result, so return a number of invoices. Likewise, I can return any set of results based on a chat prompt around outstanding payable invoices, either non-PO or payable invoices, view credit notes, or spend over a specific period of time. I can get a suggestion on what I need to focus on if I'm wanting to get tasks done over a given period or day. So chat agents are always helpful, very useful when we're focused on managing our tasks, getting analyses, and concentrated feedback on specific prompts and data. So the other thing I wanted to show was I wanted to go over to our My Tasks component. So here we are in an accountant role. So we're looking at tasks that are specifically associated with this accountant role. And you can see that on the left-hand side. I'm going to zoom in a bit so maybe people can see a little bit better. We've got some non-PO based documents, we've got PO based documents, we've got some purchase orders, we've got a vendor statement. What I'm going to do is I am going to click on our PO based invoices. I've got 2 invoices here, one from Granger, one from Dell, and I wanted to open up this one. In my initial lead up in the presentation, I talked about this is the line level one. Actually, I'll demonstrate this shortly. Let me go. I talked about fraud protection. So I'm actually going to go to my non-PO invoices and open up this one. One of the common things that we see happening more and more, anybody who's had interactions with fraud knows that the sophistication of fraud techniques is not, and the infrastructure for them is growing exponentially year on year. And if you've ever been kind of texted by your CEO to say, I'm in a meeting, call me back on this number, or those types of kind of channels of fraud are becoming more and more common. And so one of the things that we have is we have both a forensic digital analysis model and as well as a large language Gen AI model that I have incorporated into how documents are flagged as potentially fraudulent once they enter the very beginning of the process. A lot of people only deal with documents once they go through review, approvals, and it gets to payment execution. Our methodology is before any of that, once they first enter the pipeline of any teams given processing, that they be flagged. So this is the one thing I wanted to demonstrate is the digital forensic analysis that we conduct. We do some non-AI based analysis as well. So we look at atypical amounts. We look at whether vendors with vendor information is correct, normal algorithmic kind of processes that are great. The other thing that we have is, like I mentioned, the AI fake document analysis, which is essentially once a document enters, it goes through multiple passes of AI level analysis, and we do some really interesting checks. We look at the document's metadata. So we look at whether a document was opened up and then closed with a different application, which indicates whether it may have been altered and doctored. We also do pixel variance analysis. So this applies to both on an AI and machine learning level to look at whether the font, text, anything on the document may have been altered, as well as PDF layer analysis. And this gives us a level of confidence about whether a document has been the subject of fraud, whether it's been doctored and altered. And that also gives us, that then is able to give us a specific guideline of where that document may have been altered. So in this specific instance, it's telling us that the banking data has been modified. And here we've got our banking data highlighted about which information has likely been altered, doctored, so that the team can then either automatically reroute based on dynamic workflows and conditions, or can be automatically flagged or manually sort of dealt with. And we've got validation rules that can be automatically triggered. So if a user tries to submit this document, it'll prevent them from submitting it because it's been flagged as fraudulent. And that's, yeah, I think I'm kind of at the end, Amy, I think, of my section. So I can wrap it up there in case there's any questions and to allow a segue for the next speaker.
Yes, you do have a question in there, Alistair, if you want to go answer it in the chat, and also put in your email address, if you could.
Yes, sure thing. Okay, see, can you use, so Antonio asked, can you use access a supplier product catalog? So I think that's punch cards, right? I believe. We are introducing punch cards as part of our roadmap in Q4 this year. So it's definitely a requested item. And yes, when there is a supplier catalog, it's absolutely more effective than OCR, typically. But often a supplier catalog is not available. And even in those instances, you have documents that aren't reliant or keyed or connected to a supplier catalog. Like for example, let me just take vendor statements, for example, which still require OCR. And so there are a lot of documents. We support over 275, 50 document types, not all of which are can be linked to a supplier catalog. But you are correct. So that's why punch cards are part of our roadmap for this year and integrating with supplier catalogs.
Thank you. Keep the questions coming. We appreciate it.